Hello, welcome to episode 2 of Hidden Talents. Today I'll be speaking with Mr. Spike Direction. He'll be telling us all about his various musical projects, as well as some of his influences. It's a very good conversation, so stay around, check it out. Let's start back at the beginning. When did you start playing, want to play, and what kind of inspired you to first pick up an instrument?
Well, I was in a band for quite a long time before I could play anything, which is...
It's quite late starting.
Yeah, totally. I didn't really learn as a kid or anything. I'm very much a late starter in all regards. I only started liking proper music, when I was my late teens, really. And it was after we got out of university, me and my mates, we formed Z-Stacks, and we've been talking about it for years, saying, "Oh, we should do a band," because Jim, the guitarist, did his own solo stuff beforehand, and the rest of us were all into the same thing. And we basically learned our parts in order to be in the band with him. He's like, "Well, John, you can play guitar." He played at home, but he'd never done anything with it. So like, you be guitar with me, and Rob, you can be bass. That was how it was first. Dan, you be the other guitar, right? Or something. Or Dan, you learn drums. He's like, "Yeah, I always wanted to do drums," which didn't happen. But Dan ended up on bass, and I was just the front man, just the singer. Which I can't even really sing. But that was what was left. But and I sort of I had a guitar, and I fiddled about with it, but I could never really. I've got quite fat fingers, so I couldn't form chord shapes. That always put me off. But I really like a lot of blues and slide guitar players. And as I learn more about that, I learn they play in the open tuning. So basically, you could play a chord with just barring one finger. So reading about Keith Richards and his open G tuning, I thought this is a good way to cheat my way into being able to play guitar. So I learned I did a bit of research about open tuners and the different ones, and then it was a great way to just play chords at first, but then I also do play slide and stuff. I mean, I'm still not amazing, but I can play guitar to get my ideas out now, which is a big step forward from trying to. In the old days, you'd have an idea for a song and you try to explain it goes da 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 da.
Yeah, it's all in here, but you can never get it to come through these, can you?
Yeah, it's much better, and I'm still learning. I'm still I'm never going to be any kind of shredder, but I'm always trying to push myself a bit forward, more into. Yeah. I've started learning sort of playing with the fingers rather than a pick in the kind of hill country blues fashion. Starting to try, which is like. It's like sometimes it sounds like two guitars at once. You're like playing the lead and the rhythm at the same time. And it absolutely bends your mind when you hear it, but I'm just starting to try and get my head around that at the moment.
Yeah, always learning, man. I'm still learning. Always will be. For as long as I play, I'll always be learning. That's the fun of it, Tell us a little bit more about Z-Stacks. Obviously, that kind of what started your playing career, so to speak. You kind of came about from, let's start a band, yet not having the foundations to build one yet.
It was the classic thing.
You guys are pretty accomplished, and you've done some really cool things. Tell us a little bit about some of your projects.
Oh, thank you. That always shocked me. Back in the day, we'd be playing, and people would come up to us afterwards and go, "Wow, you guys are really tight." I'm like, "Are we?" So, I can always hear. I think what we're really good at doing is styling it out when we make a mistake. I've honed that to a fine art. You just get and sometimes I was listening back to something earlier today actually, and there are parts in our songs where I can hear it, and I know that. In this time where we recorded it, that was deliberate now, but it began as a mistake. There's quite a few bits where maybe there's like a bit of a stop in the riff or something, and it's because whoever was playing went, "Oh shit," and then picked it back up. But we're like, "No, that sounds good. Keep it in." There's quite a lot of Z-Stacks is very much about taking a sort of shambolic, unwieldy, uncoordinated mess, but if you do it with enough enthusiasm, then you can pull it off, and people seem to get off on it.
That's the thing. Music and performance should be fun. It should be about not taking itself too seriously. And I think that's the balance you guys have struck pretty well. I mean, I try to do it in some of the projects I do as well. If you start taking yourself too seriously, it can come off wrong. But if you're seen to be having fun, people will catch on to that. And like I say, some of the things that you've done have evolved organically. And I think that's the best way of doing it sometimes.
I think Loud were quite good at that as well, to be honest. That was one of the things I always dug about you guys.
That's the thing. We knew we were never going to be serious.
Hard, but it was a good time as well.
That's the idea. It's like if you try to take that too seriously, it's just not going to work. And we knew it never would. So much like you guys, this is just about having fun and going and being a bit noisy. Tell us a little bit about the Spike Direction effect.
That's the Spike Direction effect. It was. I mean, it's a band in its own right now, but it kind of started from solo stuff. Like we had quite a lot of downtime with Z-Stacks, about 6 years where we weren't all in the same room at the same time. I think we've not actually got back together officially yet, but we'll get back to that. But,
yeah, we'll get to that.
But the effect was I did, and I'm still doing February album writing month, which is, I don't know if you've heard of that. It's coming up again soon actually, but basically a group of people all on this one website committing to write an album's worth of material in the 28 days of February. So I think the target is 14 or 15 songs, and so I've done that for the last 3 years. Just as I was bored, I've been playing guitar a lot at home, and I wanted to see if I could do something on my own, and it seemed like a really good way to challenge myself. And I mean, at first it was like using up a lot of little ideas that I had knocking about, or just like taking a riff from a song I liked and writing a different song over it. I've done that quite a few times. That, and after a while I ended up with a collection of songs that I thought sounded like legitimately good, that were kind of a similar theme. So I was like, well, I should do something with this, maybe make an album. And so I had a couple of mates who I knew who were sort of similarly up for doing stuff but had nothing to do. So there's Blake Harmer, who's an excellent drummer, who's been in a few bands around the world. Yeah, he was in Drop This for a while. He's in Bender Crack Corn, who I guess you guys probably played with a lot. Yeah. And Steve Brixey, who was in Last Laugh and Hippie Monsters and a couple of other bands. And I knew they were kind of on my wavelength, and they were both available, and they're both really good. And so I put them together, and so we got this awesome little power trio to play all my songs that I had already written. And we recorded an album end of last year, sort of. Actually, I can't remember. It might have been December. It was like right before Christmas we did it, and released it in the middle of lockdown. We were hoping to do like a big, have a few gigs and promote it, but we've actually played a grand total of 2 shows, all of us together so far, thanks to coronavirus. But that's pretty hard on the list of things to get back on when such things are allowed again. Speaking
of coronavirus, how have you been during the pandemic, both personally and also from being a musician, being an active performer?
Oh, it's total crap, isn't it? It's
yeah.
And people, I think there's this assumption that maybe you can, you got all this time now, maybe you could really get to it. But I find it quite hard to. I've got lots of ideas, but it's hard. Even though I'm at home all the time, it's so hard to get anything out. I've practiced a lot. I've learned songs, I've practiced my own stuff. I've learned a few new covers. And the main thing that I think I've achieved is I've learned to play a lot of Z-Stack songs. I did. I was looking back on them. I always just, in my mind, John and Jim were these wizards who I could never emulate, but I probably couldn't write anything that they did. But I realised I definitely could learn a few of them. I was like, hey, I could do a version of this anyway. So I've worked out a lot of those in lockdown. That's the main thing I've done. I keep saying that I'm going to write the second Spike Direction Effect album, and it's kind of half there, but I think I have to wait for the next February to roll around before I can really crack out the second half, because I'll get
that kick up your arse when you're doing it.
I've got really ambitious with it, the second one. Good. I want to do I realised I'd written a few songs about the same subject matter, So now I want to write a few more and properly lean into the whole concept album thing.
Why not? Let's say you've got the time on your hands. It's not easy to get motivated still, even though you have that time. You still got to get in the right frame of mind to use it productively. You touched again on it is, yeah. It's that's the mission of all musicians and anyone that's in any way creative, though, isn't it? Is finding that spark sometimes, or that kick up the arse to really push forward. You mentioned ZStax again a little bit there. You also said that you're not quite back together, but you have recently been working on some stuff. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, we in 2014 we recorded our second album, and a couple of months before we released it. So that's a mere 6 years in between. But we sort of back in the day when we were active gigging, we put all our energy into getting as good as we could to do this recording, like as tight as possible, and everything. And went in and did it. Really pleased with it, and then everything kind of fizzled out after that. It was, I think, it was such a peak of energy that we sort of exhausted ourselves doing it. And then, you know how life is: jobs change, life situations change, and we could never quite get back to doing it again. We spent the whole 6 years going, oh, we should really get back together, do like a proper release gig for the album. Yeah, we should do that. Let's do that. And then it could never happen. And it's all down to Dan, basically, the bass player, who in lockdown said, right, I've got the recordings. I've got a bit of money at the moment. I'm going to pay for them to be pressed as CDs. I'm going to get some merch made. Let's release it, and let's donate everything we make on top to the Medway Street Angels and the Gillingham Street Angels, which are some food banks around here. And we're like, yeah, totally do it. And it was great. It was like a sudden shot of energy that we had. Made a couple of videos for some of the songs that have been kicking around. I think there's still another one coming down the pipe, because I did a couple. I did for Toffee Hammer. I did one that I was quite pleased with. It was just a single shot of a big block of toffee, and I just battered the shit out of it with a hammer. So it was like an ASMR video, but like framed just like that. Just see my hand coming and smashing it. But there's at least one more video coming at some point. Yeah, I did a couple of live streams, which was a really fun thing to do to promote it by the time it was coming out. And yeah, so I'm hoping once we're allowed to see each other again and play gigs again, that we might actually get back together in some form. I don't know what form that will be. Who exactly can make it this time, but we shall see.
So for the time being, then, while we're still in lockdown, are the live streams that you're performing something you're going to continue to do?
I do. I'm taking a bit of a break at the moment, because I did a few on the trot and got a bit of interest, and then I think I'm giving people time to be interested again when I do another one and work out these two had a theme. I did almost all ZStax songs that I hadn't played in that fashion in front of people before, and it was kind of a lot of our old fans came out the woodwork to watch. It was kind of cool. But yeah, I'm probably gonna do some more in the future, but I want to work out a set that I can do. Yeah. And
are there any further plans beyond that for yourself, and say maybe getting back together with ZStax beyond pandemic, whenever that may be? Are there any more sort of future plans you've got brewing away in the back of your mind?
Yeah, like I said, I've got the second Spike Direction Effect album, which initially I thought, I'll do it all at home in lockdown, but I've kind of changed my mind. As it's got more ambitious, I think what I need to do is get the band back together to learn the songs for real, and so hopefully try and get some gigs when those are allowed again for the Effect, and we'll go out and play this. It's a bit of a step forward for us, because the first album was mostly like punk blues, a bit like Left Lane Cruiser or C16, I suppose. So when it gets quite heavy, this one's it's moving beyond that. It's still kind of bluesy, but it's a lot of songs about space. So it's probably going to go a bit more jammy, a bit not prog, but more like psychedelic.
Yeah.
which I'm quite excited to experiment a bit with that. It'll be a definite step for me. I bought myself a wah pedal, so we're away. That's instant.
Tell us a little bit about some of your favourite artists, the people that inspire you and kind of trigger you to play, and what sort of moulds your style.
That's funny. The thing that kind of unifies all the Z-Stacks, apart from Dave the drummer that we tried to indoctrinate, we all love a group called the Wild Hearts, who are just they're kind of the Beatles meets Metallica is the best way to describe that. They are crushingly heavy, but they also write a really good pop song, which is what we love. We're nowhere near as accomplished as they are, and they're throwing a lot of They sort of have the bubblegum pop song and then this really complicated, almost prog metal riffs, and then 10 different songs all in one song and all that stuff, which we would love to be able to do. And we do try and emulate that occasionally, but it's they are really accomplished. So we're more along the Motorhead side of it, sort of straight up and down, like go forward, attack.
What are some of your favourite albums?
Favourite album? Oh, this week. At the moment, I keep going back. It's like I say, all-time favourite albums. Things like there's a band called A, who were around in about 2000. Their album Hi-Fi Serious is probably one of the albums I've listened to more than any other. And it's a similar thing to the Wild Hearts, sort of like technical, but with a really good, and heavy, but with a really good pop edge as well. So you can sing along to it and fight each other at the same time. This week, I'm really liking a band called Daddy Longlegs, who are sort of garage scuzzy blues. There's a guy playing like a little stand-up drum kit, guitar player, and the fella singing and playing harmonica, but somehow they sound huge. Like they've got an album out called Low Down Ways. That's really good. What's the thing I just turned onto a new thing yesterday that I think I'm going to keep going back to. It's this. It's from the end of last year, or it might be this year. It's a band called Magic Mountain with a K, and it's like, again, it's almost that psychedelic thing, but really heavy, right? But then not like growly heavy, but the riffs are heavy, but the singing is like it's like a 60s kind of thing almost. And then,
nice.
Yeah, I've just been turned on to them like recently, so they're right there in front of my head.
What are some of your favourite gigs, both your own and ones that you've attended?
Oh man, that makes me sad thinking about gigs.
Yeah, sorry.
We were
all those years ago.
We were talking about this on our Facebook page the other day. As Ned Stash did a song on the new album that was sort of a lament for the Tap and Tin, and how when that used to be like a good place to go to watch a band. It's like, oh man, those are the days. But so we were talking about good gigs we'd had. Was one I thought was quite good was when we went down to this place in Brighton, and they had like a pirate themed night, and all the bands were playing dressed up as pirates and stuff, and everybody else dressed as pirates, and we turned up and we just each bought a pirate t-shirt. Like John had Goonies Never Say Die, Jim had Somali Acquisitions, No Tanker Too Big or Small, and I just had I bought one from the Pirate Bay, with the so we just wore those. That was our
musician playing with a Pirate Bay t-shirt.
I thought that was quite a good gig, but apparently everybody else had a really bad time afterwards. I mean, maybe I drank too much. I remember Joe from Frau Pouch. He came down with us, and they had all these like circus freaks going around the crowd, and he paid this guy $5 to eat a light bulb. Like it was like a little flash bulb, and he's like, if you give me $5, I'll eat this. He's like, I want to see that, and the guy just like cracked and just ate it. Insane.
See, to me, that's a good gig. How can you not have fun?
That's it. That's what's stuck in my mind. But the best one that we ever played, I've no idea if we were any good or not. But we did one downstairs at the Command House with Dogtown and Science Noodles were the other two bands, and we each brought a crowd big enough that it filled the whole room. So there was like 3 times as many people as they could fit in there at the gig. So they were sort of rotating in and out between sets, which was great. I think it's the only time we ever played to like a packed venue. I mean, we had to play in a venue the size of this garage for it to happen, but it was like people were like right there while you were playing, which is
sometimes the intimate gigs are the best because they're the ones you get that instant reaction from. And
apparently, I suspect we were shocking, but we went over like rock stars. So that always sticks in my mind.
That's what matters, man. As long as you and the boys had fun, that's what it's got to be about.
Yeah. What's the best gig I went to? I mean, I struggle to remember any gigs I actually went to these days.
What, because that was so long ago? Or
yeah. I mean, the last gig I went to was the 1st of February last year. That was the Wild Hearts, which probably about 50% of the gigs I've ever been to have been them or members of that band in different things. But it was good. I was always really pleased I got to see Rage Against the Machine when they played Download last. I mean, they're supposed to be back together now, aren't they? But I mean,
apparently so. Yeah, I'm not sure how true that is, but
they were, because it was literally. I mean, sometimes if you see a band and watching them is like just pressing play on the record, then that might be disappointing. But with Rage, I was kind of suspecting it would be a shambles because they were they hadn't existed as a band a few months before. So I was like, how are they going to be any good? There's going to be some problem or other. But no, they were incredible. Oh man, well, people should definitely buy the Z-Stax album. It's called Die Z-Stax Die. It's on all the streaming services, but I mean, the best thing to do is go on to Bandcamp and buy it there, or buy some of our merch. Our boy Dan paid for us to have some Z-Stax mugs made, which I've got one, and they're beautiful. They've got all the album art around the outside, which, as you know, that's some beautiful stuff that Jim, the guitarist, did.
There will, of course, be links in the description for everything that Rob's saying here, so if you see it, get on there, get it.
And there's also the Spike Direction Effect album, which is called Please Lower Your Expectations. That's streaming everywhere, and it's on Bandcamp. What else is there? And look out for more stuff in the future, I suppose.
Absolutely. As soon as we can get back to normal, we'll all be at it. So keep your eyes peeled.
Until then, I'm just going to keep live streaming from my garage to whoever wants to listen. And if they don't, it's not really my concern. That there's a mate of mine, when Lockdown 3 was announced, he's like, I'd just like to reassure everyone that I'm not going to be live streaming anything to entertain you, I promise. And I was like, mate, I'm totally going to do that. I'm going to be live streaming to entertain myself, whether other people want it or not. That's not my concern.
That's what it's got to be about. You've got to write for yourself. You've got to play for yourself first and foremost. I think we're good, man. As long as you're happy. I know it's a fairly short one, but we ran through.
Yeah, good to talk to you.
Yeah, and you, man. Hopefully when things get back to normal, we can all get together again and start making some noise together. I know the boys in Loud would love to do it at some point as well, so...
Well, I'm thinking when I get around to recording this album, I might want some people to lend me solos if you're up for that.
Always up for playing, man.
Right.
Happy days. Rob, thank you very much for your time, man. Appreciate it. As I said earlier on, check the description for all of the links for all these various projects. There's a lot of them, but they're all worth checking out, I assure you. Rob, thanks very much, mate. All the best. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the conversation I had with Rob. Check the links in the description for all of his various musical projects, as well as a link to donate to Medway City Angels if you are in a position to do so. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Take care.